voice of the longest-running real estate talk show in the North Bay, The Real Estate Hour. The legacy continues with Allison Norman and her business partner, Stephanie Norman, the newest mother-daughter real estate team.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday. It is the first Sunday of October.
How did that happen?
I don't know. How did it happen, Joe?
I'm laughing because
we all got older.
it goes so
Right?
much faster. There was a really funny compilation of news shows that were saying, yeah, can you believe it's October? I think it was Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon, one of the night shows, and it was perfect. I was cracking up because we had just done our last show of September, but it was so like every single news anchor, every single news show, they're all, can you believe it's October already?
Can you believe
We
it?
had that same conversation. Nobody can believe it.
Flying by.
Anyway, welcome to
the real estate hour.
My chair's really low. There we go.
And yeah, we have lots of things today. We have the market update.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the sold from last year
Yes.
versus this year for September. So
Yeah, we have that. And then what do you got over there?
So the National Association, actually CAR sent it, California Association of Realtors sent it over, but it covers what the National Association of Realtors is talking about. It has to do with the government shutdown and what programs that are shut down or are partially shut down and what kind of problems that could potentially cause somebody that's in the midst of buying a home. Or somebody that's receiving subsidies for housing or things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I was happy to see that some of the programs are still going forward and still being supported through a government shutdown. And some of the information is kind of based on what happened the last time that we had in 2018 when we had that, I think, 35-day shutdown, which by the way, we were in the middle of an escrow for a purchase to Coast Guard family. So husband and wife.
That was a tough one.
Both were with the Coast Guard. Both were not getting paid. And we were in the middle of a real estate transaction to purchase. So they had their funds with I think their funds were with USAA. And, that's where their savings and all of their money was. And so I don't know if that helped. I think it did because they knew, and there was a military family, taking care of their military people. So we were able to close that transaction, but I know it's a little scary for anybody that suddenly has lost their income and they're trying to buy a house. So we're going to spend a good portion of the show talking about the different programs that could be affected, could not, or maybe could just be slowed down or aren't funding at all. There's a couple. So something to be aware of. We'll talk about that. We're going to take a look at what happened in September. And then you've got some fun information about community
I have
stuff.
some events happening in Sonoma County. I actually did not write any of them down.
Oh.
But I did share them on our Facebook page, The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. If you want to check that out, it's the best way to find events happening is Sonoma County Happening Sonoma County. Sorry.
That's okay.
And or just Google what's happening in Sonoma County this week or this weekend or
Google.
next weekend, and
there's a lot of good calendars out
there's
there.
a lot of pumpkin patches. There's the one that we all know of is the one off Highway 101 when you're going through Petaluma and the traffic stops because everyone wants to see the progress of the corn maze.
And I remember when they first put it in, and that everybody was complaining because every time that it's became, the pumpkins started growing, the corn started growing, everyone would slow down, and there was traffic right there, and everyone blamed it on the pumpkin patch. And I don't know, I'm sure there were studies showing that maybe it's always backed up.
Yeah.
we just said it. And also, Stephanie was looking it up, and they were announcing it's their 33rd season. And I'm like, no, that can't be right because you're not even 33 yet. I mean, you're almost there. But I was it with my, how anybody that has kids, you kind of base the years and the decades by the age of your kids. Oh, they were 10 at that time, So do you think it's been 33 years, Joe?
Could be.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I mean, it must
That's
be.
just another sample. It's already October. How fast is time?
Well, yeah. And on that same note, I shared, I think I shared it. Oh, I shared it on my Facebook page. I don't think it made it onto the Real Estate Hour. The 101 Novato Narrows, 30 years, it's finally complete.
Woohoo!
30 years they've been widening that road.
That is
the Novato
crazy.
Narrows. It's finally complete. And then I had a Facebook friend who commented, now they just need to work on widening 37, which they've been working and trying to figure out how to widen 37 for years. And I remember I went to I don't know, one of our assemblymen or, somebody was speaking and he was talking about 37. And there's so many, the ecological, it's wetlands, it's preserve, it's all of that. They can't just widen Highway 37. So they were actually talking about looking at a double decker, like the Richmond Santa Fe bridge, how it's double. And that way they wouldn't, because they can't widen it. But this was probably 10 years ago. So, I mean, this is something they've been studying for a long time. And I agree, it definitely needs to widen. Anybody that drives back and forth on that road, especially commute time. And it's mostly coming from the Vallejo side over to the Marin side. A lot of the people that work in Marin, a lot of the, the landscapers, the painters, the mechanics. I mean, a lot of people that come, and office workers and everything. It's less expensive to live in Vallejo and over in that, and Fairfield and Solano and all of that. They come over that way, 37. So in the morning, if you're going east, it's usually a nice flow, but you're looking at everybody coming the other way.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just our oh wow moment this morning. Like, we're going, has it really been 33 years for the pumpkin? And then was it also 33 for the Mickelsons? They've been around for a long time too.
They've been around for a long time.
Anyway, there's a lot of good pumpkin patches.
Yes,
Have fun out there.
I did share all of that on our real estate, our Facebook page, the Real
Which
Estate Hour.
confirms it is October.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And that brings me to another point, Joe. Just don't get mad when I say, can you play "I'll Be Home by Christmas" in a few weeks.
I haven't seen anything Christmassy yet. Have you? Usually Costco's the first place, but I haven't been to Costco for a while. So
Tractor Supply.
Oh yes,
Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply.
And really, they have some really fun Christmas stuff. Household kind of country.
No, all the Halloween stuff's
kitschy.
gonna be gone before it's even Halloween, and it's gonna be all Christmas.
Exactly. But yeah, we always do. Mike started that years ago, playing "I'll Be Home by Christmas," because honestly, if you want to be in a home by Christmas or by the end of the year, which is basically a week after Christmas.
Start now, right?
Start now. Yeah. You've got to get your pre-approval. You need to look for a house, find a house. Get through all of the inspections and everything else. There's a lot to it.
Yes.
And you do need to start.
So did you want me to play that?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I was just giving everybody out there a little bit
We're
of a heads
only
up.
at the first
We'll wait
Sunday
till
of
after
October.
Halloween at least. But we will, tease that a little bit, and really just heads up if you are thinking about buying, or some people have to close an escrow by the end of the year for tax reasons. If it's an investor, or you're selling your parents' house, or if there's some reason why you need to sell or buy something. Usually it's for tax reasons, and a lot of it's investment type stuff. It has to happen by the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
So don't wait till the beginning of December, because unless you'll take whatever you can find, and you'll and you're paying cash.
Close quickly.
You can close quickly. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk, and then we'll take a look at. Oh, I said we're going to take a look at what's sold and what.
And so I was just mentioning that I posted the events and the pumpkin patches on the Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman on our Facebook page. So if you want to check those out, go to our Facebook page, and the links are right there.
Yeah, and it's the Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. I think you said that.
I did say that, but thank you for
saying it again. Anyway, yeah, we'd love for you to like and follow that page, and that way you can stay in tune with everything that that we talk about here on the radio show.
And we've also been doing YouTube videos of our Real Estate Hour.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Right. So, and that comes out typically, a couple of days we'll get it. It's actually problem was solved that we were having with my phone. I bought a new phone. I didn't get the 17, but I got the 16 like a day before the 17 came out. But that's okay. But anyway, so now it's much easier transferring those videos. So anyway, if you're watching this, check us out on YouTube, and it's Sonoma County Real Estate Hour on YouTube. So that's where you find us there, KSRO.com. We're one of the Ask the Expert shows, and on the shows tab of the KSRO.com, it says Ask the Expert, and unless you know that we're an Ask the Expert show, you're not going to think to click on Ask the Expert. But there's a lot of different. There's the Dr. Walter Tom. There's Letitia with. The Lime Foundation, roofing, but hers is Raise the Roof. I was trying to remember the name of her roofing company. I apologize. It's a something. Gosh darn it. Anyway, I can't remember. But anyway, there's a lot of good Ask the Expert shows, and we're one of them. And it says ASE for some reason. ASE, the Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. So look for that if you want to watch our podcast. Joe does a great job of getting that up right after the show. If you missed part of it, you tuned in late, or you're out of...
Listen to the podcast.
Did I say watch the podcast?
Watch the YouTube.
Watch the YouTube. Listen to the podcast. You can watch what Joe wrote on the podcast, because it does have also all the links. And if we have specific links we want to share with you, those are on our podcast. On KSRO.com.
You wouldn't watch them.
You wouldn't look at them. Sorry. You'd watch it scroll by. Anyway, whatever. Okay.
Okay.
I knew what I meant. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We come back. Let's roll through the numbers. We'll tell you what happened in the market. What's currently active on the market, what happened last week, and what happened in September this year and last year. We'll take a quick break. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We're the Norman Home Team, and you're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back. Good morning.
Good morning. We're back.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Hour. Okay, we're going to dive right in, so we have plenty of time to talk about what happens with real estate when the government shuts down. But let's take a look at what happened in the real estate market, what's currently active on the market right now, and then we'll look at what happened last week, and then also what's sold this week versus month. September this year versus September last year. So taking a look at single-family homes currently active on the market, we have 1,032, and that number is actually down a little, but it's all staying pretty consistent in that we have a lot of inventory. Excuse me, that's more than half of what it has been in the past, within the last few years. So yeah. It's up a lot. Anyways, or not more than half, more than twice as much. So anyway, so the median price for that was currently active on the market right now. That you can go take a look and buy it. It's $1,177,500. That doesn't mean all the houses are that much. That's the middle of the market. There's some that are quite a bit higher, and there's some that are, quite a bit lower. Our market seems to be sitting in that kind of mid 800 is where people are really. Wanting to buy 800 or lower. So the single family homes in escrow 336 with 868,500 being the median price for the single families in escrow. Condos, we have 134 active condos in the market, and condo townhouse, we put them together. 45 are in escrow. Mobile homes are 93 active mobile homes, 35 in escrow. Multi-units, which is 2 to 4 units, whether it's separate buildings or duplex, triplex, fourplex. If it's 2 to 4 on one piece of land, it fits into this category. There's 105 active on the market right now with 23 in escrow. And land, we have 329 active buildable lots and land. Buildable residential lots and land. There are other categories. There's commercial. There's ag land that you can't build on. There's industrial, all of that. We looked just at the residential, the land or the acreage. I mean, the lots in city lots or acreage. So that's what's currently active on the market right now. Do you want to do? Why don't you do the snapshot, hot sheet? Yeah, taking a look at what happened since last week.
Yeah, so I have the numbers for Sonoma County single family residential from last Sunday to this Sunday.
Okay.
So for new listings, we have 117 with an average list price of $849,000. Back on market, we have 31. Price reduction 71. In escrow 109. Pending 57, closed 87 with an average sold price of $810,000 with 67 average days on the market. And congratulations to everyone who either sold or bought a home and everyone else involved in that transaction, because it is a huge process. So
and there's a lot.
Good job.
A lot of people. Yes, congratulations. There's a lot of people on the sidelines that deserve just as much recognition and thanks and kudos.
Congratulations to our client who
we just closed on a PUD. Yes, congratulations. And that was, and to everyone involved. Redwood Credit Union did the loan. Mm-hmm. They did a great job for us and or for her and for us, really, because it's a team effort.
It's a team effort.
First American Title did a great job as well. So we always appreciate all of the people working on the sidelines and our transaction coordinator Sue also, who always keeps us in line and make sure we're not missing any paperwork. So, anyway, so congrats to all of those, all of the people that closed in escrow. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's you're closing it and buying it at the same time. Oh, yeah. That is, double, quadruple the work and the people involved, and it's
definitely
stressful, but it's very cool when it all comes together and works out properly the way it should. So, which we like to see. Anyway, if we have time, let's take a look at what sold last year versus this year in all the different categories here in Sonoma County for September. So September of 2025 that we just wrapped up, we sold 328 single-family homes. The collective we here in Sonoma County, not us personally. And the median price for what sold was $800,000. So that all is kind of that all kind of goes along with your sold median was around $800,000. What's in escrow is a little over $800,000. What sold was $800,000, and that's the median. It's a needle that moves up and down based on how many homes are sold on either side of that. So it doesn't necessarily mean home prices are up or down. It just means what's selling is up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
But it does seem to be that the lower priced homes are what's selling, because we haven't really had a really high number of.
So that the median, that higher end market is really taking a lot longer to sell and struggling a little bit still. Yeah. I think as the interest rates come down, hopefully they'll come down a little bit more. I think that will help the upper end of the market.
Oh yeah.
So what sold in 2024 in September, single-family homes, was 316. So a little bit fewer, but the median price was $831. So in September, some higher-end homes sold, or maybe one, and it moves that needle up a little bit.
Yeah.
But still sitting in that kind of mid 800. Mm-hmm. So condos, we sold 56 condos this year, 40 last year. Mobile homes, we sold 27 this year, with 18 sold last year. And this is in September again. And then multi-unit, 2 to 4 units, we sold 12 last year and sold 11. I'm sorry, 12 this year, 11 last year. Buildable land, so we sold, I had to check this twice, because 3 times. I'm all, that can't be right. 16 both years. So September of 2025 and 2024, we sold 16, or we, the class again. I said the collective we, not just us.
Not us.
So Sonoma County, agents in Sonoma County, people in Sonoma County bought and sold. There's 16 transactions that closed in September, and then also in September of 2024. Wow. So that's a look at what happened in the real estate market. The monthly, and Stephanie's really good about posting this on our Facebook page. And if you
try to get it up the same day the numbers.
Yeah, and you usually do. Today's a little bit of a busy day, so
We'll see.
Might be tomorrow.
I will try.
But my point is, I think it's good because if you're a visual person like me and we're sitting here spewing out numbers, you're going, what did she just say? And what does all that mean?
You're trying to write it down.
Don't do that. But
we got you.
Stephanie's got your back. So that'll be on our Facebook page. You can always call and say, hey, I missed the numbers. Can you send it? And we'll get it all over to you.
And we can always do, if you're wondering how your specific neighborhood looks like with the numbers, or a different area, we can do that for you and get those numbers for you. And
different county. We cover multiple counties, so we can tell you what's happening in Marin or Lake County or Napa County, Solano County, and anything further than that, we're going to send you to another agent and say, hey, can you get them the numbers? I mean, we could pull it up, and then at that point it's just numbers, and that reminds me, I was looking at one of the, there's so many different things that get thrown at you as a realtor for things you can send to your clients, things to keep an eye on. So there's different ways, different programs where they pull up numbers and they'll give you the numbers. And there's one that posts stuff for us on Facebook. It's a auto thing, but I joined their local thing so I could get some local data. The numbers were completely different than the numbers that we pull up. And I messaged them. I said, what are you using for criteria? And the person, of course, that I don't have access to that information. So so be careful the numbers you watch. And I guess just, figure out, it should list the criteria and where they're getting that information. We find ours in the our local multiple listing service. This is data it's live, it's instant. When you go make a change in the MLS, it instantly happens. Some of the third party, they don't instantly happen. So just be careful with that.
And I was just going to mention another big thing is that you'll hear it on national news.
Yeah.
What's going on in real estate. And I was like, but that's national.
Yeah, I mean, I think the median sold nationally is like 300 and something.
Yeah.
You're like, what? But that's it's not here. Anyway,
alrighty.
Pay attention to your local numbers and know where the source is and what the criteria they're using.
Yes.
Anyway, we got to take a break. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We're the Norman Home Team, and you're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back. Good morning. We are back.
We're back. Happy Sunday. Happy first Sunday of October.
How did that happen?
How did it happen?
Anyway, it happens every year, doesn't it? Come fast.
I know.
I also
happens
saw
every
something.
month.
I know.
You're like, how is it already?
How is it? Already the fourth quarter of the year almost. I saw something depressing that was said. It was a few days ago, and it said, "Today is the last time the sun will set after 7 p.m. this year."
Oh man!
Oh no! So the sun is now setting, and then daylight savings hits, and I just
dark so early.
Least favorite thing is where it's like 5 o'clock, and it's dark, and it's raining, and people are getting off work, and there's traffic, and there's lights, and it's all reflecting off the water, and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyway, so I dread that part, but I do love fall and all the fall leaves and all the stuff.
All the colors and the pumpkin spice and the cozy and all the things.
All the things. I like the smell of pumpkin spice, but I'm not a huge pumpkin spice person. Anyway, so enough of that. Let's talk about the government shutdown and how that's affecting or could affect some real estate transactions. The good news is it's not a lot of things, but if you're in that category where it is affecting you, it is a lot. So,
yes,
to each individual person on the broad spectrum of it all, it's not as bad as it could be, but some of the things, we're just going to kind of go through the list, and pardon us for reading, but it doesn't make sense for us to try and paraphrase this. So we're just going to read through the list. This list came from the National Association of Realtors. So as of October 1st, 2025, these are some of the things that are going to be affected.
Yeah, so what a government shutdown means for realtors and for
Our clients.
Our clients, yes, thank you.
Yeah, so the Environmental Protection Agency is the first one.
So under EPA's shutdown plan, that's Environmental Protection Agency. Most employees will be furloughed. This will affect various regulatory programs and compliance activities, such as wetlands determinations under the 404 program and endorsement of the lead-based paint disclosure in renovation, repair, and painting programs. HUD programs, HUD or HUD has a contingency plan that keeps many housing programs alive, often in a reduced capacity, while others face serious disruption. The Federal Housing Administration, for example, will continue to endorse new single-family mortgage loans except for certain types, such as HECMs and Title I, thereby keeping its systems running, but many actions needing staff input, such as processing certain types of condominium project approvals, are suspended.
Yeah, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for reading that. And where I just want to cut in and not cut in, but
there's a lot more to
add to that. Yeah, yes. To add to that the EPA part of it, who that will affect really is somebody that's buying land. And you're needing to, some wetland determination if you need to figure out. And then I'm not sure how the enforcement of lead-based paint disclosure and renovation, repair, and painting programs. There is a department that enforces that and oversees it, but it's really the only thing we ever really see in a real estate transaction is the form that you have to sign. And that's governed really by the DRE, the Department of Real Estate, and our broker, we have to have that in our file. It has to be signed if it was prior to 1978 that the property was built. So I don't see that causing a lot of issue, but it's just important to understand that this department is mostly shut down. So if you need a wetland determination, that's going to be an issue for you. And that can be a big deal if that is a contingency on buying a property. And then the HUD programs, the HUD, your HUD, Housing and Urban Development. This one, if you are the HECM, Title I, so it looks like they're going to be keeping those running. But if you are if you're in escrow on anything, talk to your lender and say, hey, is this going to affect me at all? And we don't know if they're going to, pass some plan to keep things going next week. But, the way it's looking, it may be another long drawn out like it was in 2018. So it's good to understand it and know that. The FHA, essential FHA operations, including paying claims, servicing mortgages, loss mitigation, managing foreclosed properties, which is the REO HUD homes. They're moving forward, often through contractors, but importantly, borrowers may turn to private flood insurance. So this, so kind of a weird sentence or paragraph because they suddenly move to flood insurance. But if you're in an area that has flood, that is in a flood zone, it's there's a map, it's mapped, it's changed periodically. Like a lot of areas out by the river, obviously, if you're anywhere near, even up in Healdsburg, if you're near the river there. Even if you're kind of in a low-lying area where you're within the 100-year flood, they could require flood insurance. And that was kind of the first thing I heard with government shutdown is they're not going to be issuing flood insurance because that's a federal program. But so they're saying here that you could turn to private flood insurance if the National Flood Insurance Program lapses during the shutdown. And the FHA Resource Center remains open for questions, although with limited staff availability, possibly longer wait times for assistance, and limited ability to answer case-specific questions. And then housing, and this is all part of the HUD section. So housing counseling agencies, they might continue, but only if grant funds have already been awarded and cash flow levels permit. So if they run out of money, depending on how long we go. Any new grants, renewals, or payment draws are paused except for emergencies, meaning some agencies may need to reduce or suspend offerings. And then this was really important. If anybody that's part of the Section 8 housing, they call it the Housing Choice Voucher. It's a federal program that's usually overseen by individual states or even counties and cities, but I think it's specifically more states. But it is a federal program. So it's important to know here they're saying that Housing Choice Voucher holders can expect assistance payments. So that's good to continue under existing obligations, but additional funding requests or approvals may be delayed, which is unfortunate because if you were in the middle of, maybe you secured, you found a condo or an apartment or house that the owner that's going to be your landlord has cooperated with, which they actually have to. You can't use a housing voucher. You can't use form of income as it's a protected class. So they can't say, no, we're not going to do Section 8. You used to have to say, we'll do Section 8, but you actually can't say that now. And a lot of people don't realize that. But anyway, so if you're in the midst of that, you found a place, all you got to do is get that approval, and all of the paperwork and all of the stuff happening. They're not going to be funding any additional requests. So depending on where you were in the process, that's unfortunate. So,
definitely.
But good news is that if you already are in the program, they're going to continue. And this is also good news for the landlord, the property owner, because that means the portion that's paid by the housing voucher is going to be covered. So they're, which could be kind of scary if those payments went away. If you're, because a lot of times the landlord has a mortgage. People have this misconception that there's everybody that owns a property and they rent it out is a slumlord. And it's not, and that they're making all this money. And a lot of times, you're making just enough to pay your mortgage, and it's an investment. Sometimes it's kind of a placeholder to put your money, and you're hoping they're going to get some equity growth. You get some tax benefit from it, and all of that. So, but they're not necessarily sitting there raking in money. So there's a really big misconception about that. But anyway, so for the landlords, it says landlords and tenants alike are urged to check with their local PHA's payment. I don't know what a PHA is, I'm sorry. But anyway, for the latest status. So check in on that. And then government-sponsored. I'll go through this one, and then you can talk about the IRS. So government-sponsored enterprises, or otherwise known as GSEs, during previous shutdowns, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have continued. Sorry, let me get my piece of paper here. Okay, continued normal operations. So they're looking back. Previous shutdowns, the longest one in recent history is the 2018, which, like I said, was 35 days, I believe. Anyway, so they're looking back at that statistically based on this stuff, that they have continued normal operations since they are not reliant on appropriated funds. There are 4 key areas to think about. So verification of employment. When you're purchasing a home, they're going to check your employment, but then they're going to check it again too. They check at the end, and it's really important. That's why we say don't quit your job. Once you got your loan approval, don't quit your job, because right before they close escrow and right before the lender funds that loan, they're going to verify your employment again.
Don't make any big purchases either.
Yes, because they're also going to check your credit again. They're going to pull your credit that week, that days before you close. So good tip and important. That's on our list of things that we try and remember to tell our clients and kind of drill that in.
Don't go buy all that expensive
don't buy the new
furniture.
Car. Yeah,
the
washer, dryer.
Yeah.
All the things. Don't do that, because if that's going to be a bump to your credit score, that could now disqualify you from that loan. Some people are that close in their credit.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. And their debt to income, too. So anyway, so verification of employment for home buyers employed by the federal government, both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac allow for verification of employment to occur. This doesn't make sense to me, because it says verification of employment to occur after closing, but prior to delivery of the loan. And the loan, the funds maybe they're guaranteed and they're not actually sent. I don't know. But because everybody in real estate knows that that our favorite thing to hear, one of them, other than we're on record, is the loan funded.
Yeah.
You know, we've received all the funds. We're clear to close. That means they've received all the funds. So I don't understand what that paragraph means. But anyway, check with your lender. Again, all of this,
always.
check with your lender, especially if you're in the middle of a transaction. Tax transcripts, that's another thing that they pull. There's a 4506T request for transcript of tax returns. They require all buyers to sign that, and they have to verify all of that. And the request does not have to be processed prior to close. Fannie Mae requires the same unless the borrower's income can be verified through Fannie Mae's proprietary desktop underwriter verification system, in which case no 4506T is required. During past government shutdowns, the IRS suspended the issuance of tax returns transcripts. So if that's a required thing that they're going to say we have to have that, but the IRS is saying we've suspended that, again, talk to your lender, right? Say, is our loan going to require this? Is it Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or are we doing, something else? Verification of Social Security number, another one that could be affected by if the IRS shuts down. Sometimes Social Security numbers are disputed and must be verified. Fannie Mae allows lenders to verify the numbers prior to delivery. In the 2018 shutdown, they allowed that as a precaution, but they did not allow delivery if the number was not confirmed. Freddie Mac does not require verification of Social Security numbers. So it depends, again, is your loan a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac? Talk to your lender. They're going to be able to answer these questions for you. And then we mentioned flood insurance, proof of flood insurance coverage application. Both Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae require a completed application for flood insurance and a copy of a check for the first premium or the settlement statement reflecting payment of the initial premium or the assignment of an existing policy from the old owner. So it's important if you need flood insurance, just to know that if you haven't already secured all of that, you're not going to be able to do it while the government is shut down. However, there was something that mentioned at the beginning, you could go with a private flood insurance. There are other flood insurances available. I would say that's going to be more expensive, but it's going to get you into the house and you can make it work. Do that and then switch over when everything opens back up, right?
Exactly.
There you go. So what's happening with the IRS?
So Internal Revenue Service, also known as IRS. So while the IRS has not yet released its shutdown contingency plan, in past government shutdowns, the agency has consistently held that its employees can remain on the job during shutdowns only if their duties protect the government. For example, during the 2018 closure, the roughly 12% of the employees who were required to report to work could open mail only in search of checks payable to the government and were not allowed to answer taxpayer phone calls, issue tax refunds, release liens and levies, or perform most other taxpayer services.
Yeah.
So that is...
So the big thing that stands out to me in that is that releasing liens, because sometimes in a transaction, which is why we always like to pre-open an escrow, because we can see there's a tax lien. We better start working on that because they're not super fast.
It's going to hold you up at the end when you go to sell it. So
in this case,
to do it beforehand.
Yeah, but in this case, if you haven't yet and you do have a tax lien, it's really it's going to be something that's probably going to hold you up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sounds like it. Yeah.
So, and I kind of laughed a little when it says that they're allowed to open emails only if it has to do with checks payable to the government. Yeah. I mean, it's important, but they can't help us. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to take a break and we're going to continue talking about a little bit more about the National Flood Insurance Program. And then rural housing programs, USDA and VA are two that are going to be affected by the closure if it continues long term. So we'll talk about that when we get back. But shall we take a break?
I think so.
Joe is nodding his head. Yes, take a break. Okay, I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We are the Norman Home Team, and you're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We're going to be right back. Good morning. In stereo.
Jinx.
So we're going to continue our conversation about things that you should be keeping an eye on at least, or be aware of, that could become a problem or are currently going to be a problem if you are in the process of a real estate transaction, planning on buying, planning on selling, and if this government shutdown carries on for too much longer. Things which it looks like it might, because there's two very stubborn sides. and very not seeming to be able to come to an agreement.
So we're just going over these.
Yes. So a little
that
bit
might be affected or are affected. So we left off on so more on the National Flood Insurance Program. So during a lapse of authority, the NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program, may not sell new or renewal flood insurance policies. Existing flood insurance policies will remain in effect until their expiration date, and claims will continue to be paid until funds run out. The policies may be assigned from seller to buyer during a lapse, and most lending regulators have issued guidance providing flexibility. Private market flood insurance is also an option, so that's good to know. And check with your lenders. Always.
Yeah, check with the lender. If you're working with an agent, ask them. They can get more information. NAR, National Association of Realtors, does have a frequently asked questions document. We're happy to send that over to anybody if they have more questions, or send you in the right direction. I think the big thing that stands out on this to me is they're saying that the policies may be assigned from seller to buyer during a lapse in service. In availability if the government is shut down. So I wasn't aware of that. So I think that's good. Check into that if it can be just transferred or assigned over to a new buyer. And then look at that private market. And you can do that anytime and see if it's a better option than using the national flood. I believe I had years ago had talked to, I don't do too many policies that require, well, actually that's not true. They do, and it's usually the buyer that they figure that out with their insurance agent, and I'm not really much involved. There was one where we had to get involved because there was we had to get an elevation survey because it actually sat higher than all of that. But I did talk to somebody at the flood insurance, the NFIP, and they say that even if they get private, it has to go through them, but you can get a private policy. I don't know if that's still true. I know there's a lot of agents that work very exclusively out at the river, and they're probably much better aware of all the flood insurance things. But we can definitely help you with that as well, and answer any questions for you. And really, this affects anybody around the country too. There's a lot of places, and what they said there is that they'll continue making payments until the money runs out. So, if you're in the middle of a claim, hopefully the funds are going to be available for that. So the two that are big, that really are going to be the most affected, I think, we don't see a lot of USDA loans here, because USDA, it's for rural areas, and they determine eligibility for USDA in its United States. What is it? USDA. Anyway.
USDA loans.
Yes, USDA. I was trying to remember the acronym for USDA. But anyway, it's a rural loan. It's a really good loan. It's a no down payment. It's a really good loan. It's the only other no down payment. Well, I shouldn't say the only other, but it is, there's the VA loan, and then there's the USDA loan. Program. It has to be a small community. They base it on population. Yeah. So there aren't very many. Lake County.
There's actually a map you can go to if you type. I think you can look up like USDA.
Yeah, it's probably
eligibility
.gov or something. Yeah.
And you can type in an address and see if that specific address is eligible.
Yeah, Windsor used to be, because we actually did a USDA loan in Windsor years ago, and the population is too high in Windsor now. Yeah. I think some areas of the river, Mendocino County, it's that when there's smaller population. Anyway, so that's what a USDA loan is. USDA will not issue new direct loans or guaranteed loans, and scheduled direct loan closings will not take place. That is scary.
Yes,
that means if you're in the middle of a transaction, and I actually, on one of our realtor Facebook groups that we follow, somebody in another part of the country said they're in the middle of a USDA transaction and they can't close. And thankfully buyer and seller understand and they're all on the same page. Everybody's on hold and, hoping and praying that this is going to pass quickly and things will get back on track. But anyway, that's a big deal. They will not take place. Pending conditional commitments or guaranteed loans will be reviewed. And if possible, USDA may issue loan or note guarantee. So if you're in the middle of that or thinking about USDA loan, that's a big deal. And then the Veterans Affairs is probably the only other thing we're going to be able to talk about. Oh, and SBA loans are also not going to be processed. New loans are approved. Routine small business loans, including the CDC 504 loan program and the 7A loan program. However, the agency will continue to close previously approved CDC 504 loans and carry out limited loan servicing and liquidation activities. VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, we're big fans of the VA loan. We love to get our veterans into homes. We do a lot of VA loan transactions. Department of Veterans Affairs will continue to guarantee home loans during a government shutdown, and lenders may keep processing applications. However, some VA staff and support functions may be reduced, which may slow down the approvals, appraisals, and certificate of eligibility. Veterans seeking a new loan or refinance should check with their lender to update for updated processing time. So they will close a VA loan. They will continue. They will fund. So that's good news.
Yeah,
but expect it to take longer. We've been really getting to where the VA lenders are doing a lot better at closing fast, and that's been one of the things that people kind of steer away from VA is because they have longer close times. And then the seller's all, well, I'm going to take this loan that can close in 21 days, not this one that's like 45 days. They've gotten really better at closing in 30 days. In this case, while the government is shut down, they probably can't promise that.
And
so just be aware of that.
With all this that we talked about, talk to your lenders.
Yes.
If you need more information on any of the forms, or we can always...
we can have a conversation with you too. Some of the EB-5 and H-2B visa programs are also affected. So that's important to be aware of as well, but we're out of time.
And then be sure to check out our Facebook page, The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. We have our YouTube, the
Sonoma County Real Estate Hour on YouTube.
And then KSRO.com, Ask the Expert, and we are in somewhere in that list. And you
Go
can
to shows,
find our
then Ask the
podcast.
Expert. Look for our podcast, and you can listen to the recording there. Okay? If you missed anything, go to all those different places. Anyway, I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman. Have a great Sunday.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Hour. We'll see you later.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman, the Norman Home Team on KSRO. Sonoma County real estate market knowledge from real estate professionals born and raised in the North Bay. The Real Estate Hour with Allison Norman and Stephanie Norman, Sunday mornings at 9 on KSRO and KSRO.com.